What up, y'all? It's Jay Gatto here, coming at you again with another video. And hopefully I can get through this one without any interruptions. I've been trying to um, actually record this for a while now, but I've been interrupted for a lot of reasons. But anyways, this is another edition of strategies of striking. Before I talk about the strategy that I'm going to go over today, I'm going to talk about why I call it strategies of striking. And um and it goes back to really, books I've read that influenced me a lot, like 36 Strategies of War is one of them. There's another one that I also read, but I forgot the name of it. It has a very technical name, but it has very little to do with martial arts. But that was one of them. The Book of Five Rings from Miyamoto Musashi is another one. Um, Books like The Tao of Jeet Kune Do from Bruce Lee is another one. And what all of these books have in common is that they emphasize the importance of strategy, the importance the main thing is the importance of strategy. And especially Miyamoto Musashi, he says a lot. He always says the way of strategy, right? Or the way of strategy is the way of martial arts, which is true. And this goes deep into a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. But today, I want to focus on one technique that I've been over before, but I want to go into the minute details and why I feel like this is the first thing you should learn. So to create like a good fighter, or a near perfect fighter, you have to you have to start with the feet. So start with the feet, and then once you've established your feet, your foot placement, then you start working on your breathing, right? I know it sounds boring, but that's the way it is. And breathing meaning, how do you breathe within a fight? And people don't even know how they breathe in general because it's something that happens automatically. But when you're fighting, things happen to where your adrenaline goes up. Some people don't know how to cope with that. And so they tend to hold their breath when they're throwing punches or stuff like that, stuff that newbies tend to do a lot. So breathing is important, whether you want to believe it or not. The other thing is striking, and I put striking at the end, because that's the thing that most people want to get to, but you have to work your way up to that, and your striking should be from good positions. Right? And that's how I believe you build a fighter. So, but you got to start from the stance, and the reason you got to start from the stance is because the stance is what's going to determine whether your punches are going to come from a balanced place or from a non-balanced place, or you're going to be exposed every time you throw a punch, or whatever. So this is why the stance is important. But what does a stance have, or what is the things that make up a stance? And I've come up with 3 or 4 things. Really, it's 3 things. So it's your foot placement, right? Your guard, and your patterns. Now, what is foot placement? Foot placement is, as you can see here, I'm the one with the we're both dressed in black, but I'm the guy that's not black. The guy on your right, I believe. And the stance, your foot placement is your foot placement in accordance to your opponent. Then after that comes the guard. The guard is how you hold your hands in home base, which is, either put both of your hands up or put both of your hands down. All of these are relevant for different reasons. I'm not here to tell you one of them is wrong or the other one is incorrect, but I am here to show you, hopefully the weaknesses of each and the strengths of each, and make you, hopefully choose whatever is good for you. And as you can see there, a strike came from your basic. The strike that he gave me was from your basic attack point. This is where most people attack from, which I call the angle number 1, right? Or I also call it traffic. And the reason I call it traffic is because this is where most people throw their punches from, right? From this angle. And you notice how I'm circling to another angle, right? And using trickery and, kind of movements to where I look kind of loose and relaxed. But the whole time I'm trying to circle that way, which is to my left and his right. And here we go again. Of course, if he throws his other hand, then I go under his momentum. I don't want to go towards his momentum. That's another thing you want to emphasize. But that's not what I want to talk about here today. What I want to talk about is that movement there and this here, specifically this here, right? So what did you see there at the end? You saw those jabs that I threw, right? And I was attacking, but I was staying safe as I attacked. And this is what I want to emphasize today. Now, let's go ahead and pause it here. Or let me see, not pause it. Let's see if you could listen to what I'm going to say here. And then I'll emphasize on it.
How you doing? Yeah.
Right here.
What did I say? This right here? No, jab. This is the jab. Your lead hand? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. No, you're just going to go here.
Alright, so did you see what I did there? So basically, most people attack from here. And as you can see there, with my hand, I'm drawing a straight line from me to my opponent, because that's where most people attack from. What I'm telling people to do,
This right here? No,
very simple.
Jab. This is the jab. Your lead hand? Yeah, I'm going to go with that. No, you're just going to go here.
Boom.
That's all you're doing.
All right. That's all. That's pretty much all I'm telling this guy to do. And the reason I'm telling him to do that is because he, as I was holding the pads for him, holding the mitts for him, he was unable to reach me where I held my mitt. And it's close to my face for a reason, because I want them to see if they could reach me. Now, this guy is 6'2". He was unable to reach me. And the reason for that is because he wasn't using his feet, right? And he wasn't using them in an angle. Now listen to this.
You see how I'm moving that way? You see how far? Look how far away I'm stepping, and I'm going to reach the top of your head, right? You see? Now you're taller than me, so you should be able to do that.
Of course, that was an exaggeration what I did there and stepped all the way out there. But the reason I did that is because I wanted him to understand that there are certain spaces that you could step to and still be safe and still be able to connect to your opponent.
Easy. So what I'm seeing with you is that you're too afraid to not reach me, and you're stepping over here. Yeah.
Now, when I did that right there, stepping right there, that was stepping within traffic. Now, stepping within traffic It's not to say that it's bad to step from angle number one or from the basic angle that I was just talking about before. It's just telling you that if you are going to step there, you're going to have to immediately bounce back out. But it's preferably to take angle number two, which I'm going to go over right now.
Step over here, you're going to be in range of this stuff here.
Which is traffic.
Step over here, you could still be in range of it, but it's going to be a smaller maneuver for you to just lean back and then come back.
All right, so basically that's what I'm trying to talk about today is angle number two, step, pivot, and throw the jab. That's basically what it is. And what I'm going to go over here today is the reasons and ways to do it. And you could see it here in action, actually. I'll tell you when. Right here. Right, step. Oh, step. Now, some people call that hide your back foot and throw your fist, which is a good way, a good formula to give people to stay bladed. Now, a lot of people say, staying bladed is wrong, and it prevents you from landing power shots. I do not believe this. And I'm not saying that a bladed and that a squared stance is better, or a much more sideways stance is better than a bladed stance. I'm not saying that also. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying every stance has a strength and a weakness. But like, for example, a bladed stance is vulnerable to hooks, to not side kicks, pretty much round attacks, circular attacks like hooks, roundhouse, spinning hook kicks, thigh kicks, circular attacks. But it's very good for defending against the 1-2, which is the number one thing that is used in boxing. Now, of course, there's also weaknesses to a more squared up stance. If you notice, people that use squared up stances are people like Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez, amongst others, but those are the more famous ones. Now, what you could tell about people that use these type of stances is that they tend to have very good head movement. You could see videos of Julio Cesar Chavez having very good head movement and very good parries and blocks. The same thing with Mike Tyson. He's famous for moving out of the way and then capitalizing on your opponent's mistakes. But is this because they were naturally this way, or because they were so squared up that it was necessary to have very good defense? I think it's a bit of both. And that's the truth, in my opinion. People that have good head movement is because good head movement is required of them because of their styles, their stances. Now, if you're in a bladed stance, your first line of defense is going to be your feet, right? And I am a big advocate of using all of your defensive tools. The first line of defense is going to be your feet. The second line of defense is going to be your movement, your torso movement, your waist movement, your head movement, stuff like that. And the last but not least is going to be parrying and blocking. And of course, you could throw in punches in there, because punches are a form of self-defense, attacks, right? And people, in my opinion, some people rely solely on one thing, will pay for that. They will die by that, whatever it may be, whether it may be constant footwork. If that's what you're gonna live and die by, eventually you're gonna get tired and you're not gonna be able to move so much. A good example of this is Ali. Very slick in the beginning of his career with his movements. Of course, towards the end of his career, got a lot more older, and he had to resort to other means, rope a dope, stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is broaden your horizons before you're forced to do it by, your own particular foreman or whoever's going to push you into that direction. Be prepared. Be prepared. Know what to expect when you see somebody with a wide stance or with a squared up stance. Know what to expect when you see somebody with a bladed stance like myself, which I use 4 stances within a fight. I like to use all 4, and I've actually broken it down to 4 stances that are used all across martial arts, from MMA to point style karate, kickboxing, whatever it is. These 4 stances, along with their foot patterns, are the ones that are used across, most pugilistic sports. But anyways, back to what I'm saying here about these angles. Do not attack straight forward from your basic stance, right? Like, for example, see here, let's go in here real quick. And let's see if we could do it right. Right there. Now, right there, as you could see, this here is traffic, or angle number 1, which is what most people attack from. This is mainly including people from point style karate or taekwondo. This is why these people or these practitioners tend to do a lot of speedy in and out movements. The reason for that is because they know they have to be, like I said, what I said before, they have to move their heads, because their footwork isn't quite there. This is the same for a lot of these point style or martial arts. They have to be quick because their angles, or their knowledge of angles or use of angles, is not very developed yet. So when you attack through this angle here, the in and out angle, the traffic, what I call it, it comes down to who's stronger, it comes down to who's faster, it comes down to who's able to sell their feints more, stuff like that. All of that is important, but what I'm telling you to do is to step first, pivot, and then throw your jab from this angle here. And that's the angle we're going to talk about today. So now, right now, I'm not going to, in this movement here, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to dip under, which is another angle, but right here, see, there you go. So even though I'm not hitting them, right, I am from a safe position working my jab and giving him something to worry about, right? Look how close my hand was there to him. That's basically what I'm saying. Now the reason I call it the lead hand and not the jab is because I don't want people to think I have if I say jab, a lot of people say I have to hit him with this punch, and it makes people tense. One moment. It makes people tense, and it makes people, tend to think that they have to land that. Always. Another thing I want to talk about is why you should keep your hand like this. Now, of course, I don't always do that. Sometimes I keep my hands down. Sometimes I keep it across my stomach, like if it was like the Philly shell. But I'm going to tell you why you should keep it like this sometimes. And it's very simple.
The reason you're not able to come in on you is when I go like this, I pivot and I bring it back here. So if you want to come to the body, my elbow.
So that's basically it. there's other reasons for that. But you have to know, like I said before, you have to know why you're doing something. And then if you know why you're doing it, then you know why you're not gonna do it. And if you know why you're not gonna do it, then that's when the whens come in, and then you're gonna know when to do it and when not to do it. That's basically it. So every time a teacher or coach teaches you something, try to ask why. If they don't know, then get you somebody else. If they don't want to tell you, definitely get you somebody else. Um, you know, it's important to know why you're gonna do certain things, why to keep it your classical boxing stance, why to keep your hand like that. You know, there's a reason for it. There's also a reason to keep a Philly shell. Um, you know, hopefully, I think I'm gonna do it here in a little bit. See right there, I'm keeping my. Well, that was another trick that I know too. This is the reason why the jab, I don't like to call it a jab, because as you saw there, I used it as a way to move around my opponent. So trying to see if I could do a Philly shell. So that's basically that was pretty much a Philly shell defense right there. So as you can see, it covers lower body attacks good too. Look. So I parried the lead hand there, and it's a catch. I don't want to go into the catch, but I'm just saying there's techniques that you could do with your hands down as well. There's defenses that you could do with your hands down as well, as there's techniques that you could do with your hands up. What you got to do is find the weaknesses and the strengths to every technique that you're ever taught. And that way, when you see it in front of you, when your opponent comes at you with something and they're in a stance, you're going to be immediately able to recognize it and say, okay, he's going to try to tackle me, or okay, he's going to try to jab me to death, or he's definitely going to try to sidekick me. And this is stuff that you learn through time, and this is why I don't say this stance is wrong or this stance is correct, or you have to do it this way, or you have to throw your punches like this and your elbow pointing here, or this and that. What I will do is say why you should throw a punch this way, right? Why you should keep your elbows tucked in, why you should block like this or like that, why these techniques work in certain positions and in certain environments and certain rule sets, and why these work in other rule sets. And that's pretty much it, man. It's martial arts is a tool. Science is a tool as well. Science is a tool. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. But that's pretty much it for today. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys.